Hello friends, this is Grief speaking. You know, I cover a lot of creepy videos on the channel, and it got me thinking about what videos actually scare me. Give me the creeps, you know, genuinely freak me out. I don't just mean disturbing or uncomfortable to watch. Hell, the video of the girl with a butt for a mouth was disturbing, but it's not exactly scary in the traditional sense. So, I want to go through some of the videos that have legitimately scared me in the past. Now, it should go without saying, but fear is subjective. These are videos that caught me at the right time and place to really spook me, but that doesn't mean they're going to be scary to everyone. I know there's going to be some cool guys out there who are too insecure to have fun getting scared. You know, the same guys who wear shorts in the wintertime and then constantly reassure you that they're not cold even though you didn't ask. But hey, it takes all kinds. I personally enjoy being scared. I think it's fun. Anyway, let's just get to the goods. These are some videos that actually creep me out. There is Nothing. There is Nothing is one of the first videos that comes to mind when I think about my history getting creeped out on YouTube. The video is only 1 minute long and begins with a pale, demonic-looking woman at the end of a dining room table with a bowl and a spoon. Behind her is a large window with only a black void and flames. As the camera zooms out, we hear what sounds like garbled speech, and the woman's face falls into the bowl. Now the camera begins moving back toward the girl in reverse. Her head springs up from the bowl, and we hear the audio once again, but in reverse she says, "There is nothing." It's really a simple video, but it touches on several things that freak me out. One is just the audio. The lo-fi recording of the girl sounds creepy backwards and even more creepy forwards.
There is nothing.
That, mixed with the music and crackling hellish flames in the background, is something from a nightmare. The other thing that gets me is the vagueness of the video. Upon first viewing, it seems cryptic and profound. Sometimes vagueness really works in horror because it feels like something big is going on that you just don't understand, which really lends itself to cosmic horror. The creator of the short, David B. Earl, said that the video was meant to represent his beliefs on the afterlife. After you hear that, the whole "there is nothing" thing is a little on the nose. He also wanted to make a short film that could be looped infinitely, and this one can. At this point, I've seen it so many times that I'm a little desensitized to it, but hey, catch me at 2 a.m. laying in bed and it can still get me humming hymns. Witch Lady. This is a classic one that I ran into late in the night some years ago and was just in the perfect mindset to be freaked the fuck out. The video is footage shot from a cell phone supposedly in Saudi Arabia. Somewhere out in the middle of nowhere, two dudes are driving and see something in their headlights. There's no other way to say it. It looks like a witch. It slowly moves towards them, but they maintain a safe distance, keeping it in the headlights. The fact that the video is so low quality definitely helps this one because it makes the figure of the witch just more horrifying. But I think what really sells the video is the man in the passenger seat who's filming. He seems genuinely terrified. Now, I don't know that it's been confirmed, but we can probably assume this isn't really a witch and more likely someone in a costume. However, some people have said that it's actually a prank and that the guy driving is in cahoots with whoever's in the witch costume. That seems like the best theory because of just how scared this guy sounds. Fake or not, this video definitely freaked me out the first time I watched it. Meat Sleep. I found this channel while doing the Horror on YouTube iceberg, and it was one of the only times I actually had to stop doing research because it freaked me out so much. Meat Sleep is a really strange and cryptic YouTube channel. It's kind of hard to explain these videos since they're so erratic, but essentially you get the impression that they're made by a killer/cannibal. Everything's shot from a POV and is typically extremely shaky and edited with fast cuts and jarring imagery. A lot of the videos show dirty environments, accompanied with eerie music and some very off-putting speech. One video is just literally 6 minutes of someone filming a crime scene from a distance. And on top of that, there's a couple of videos of ambiguous meat being cooked that viewers were led to believe was actually human meat. Watching several of the videos in a row just really started getting to me, but there are two in particular that just made me way too uncomfortable. Both feature the same distorted voice. In one video, the voice keeps repeating, "You live here, I let you live here," along with a lot of other weird language.
I took you and I keep you warm. I feed you. You live here.
The other video, which is one of the ones that supposedly was showing human meat being cooked, has the same voice now stating, "You are unhappy."
What causes unhappiness? You want things to be.
The voice with the words and just the video itself is the perfect combination of eerie to me. The man in the lower left-hand corner of the photograph. Robert Morgan's a stop-motion animator who I actually discovered quite recently while doing the Body Horror Iceberg series. He's made several strange stop-motion shorts, but the man in the lower left-hand corner of the photograph really captures a specific kind of horror to me: dread. I legitimately feel a sense of bleakness while watching this video. It's not exactly terror in the heart-racing kind of way, it really hits on a psychological level. It's a hard one to explain, but go watch it for yourself and you might see what I mean. Rubber Johnny. I remember sitting around with friends watching weird videos one night when some nincompoop shut the lights off and put this one on with no context. The video starts with a night vision camera pointed at an out-of-focus person that we'll just call Johnny. We can only see his glowing eyes and part of his face, which looks malformed. Johnny's being asked questions by someone we can assume is a psychologist or doctor or something like that, but his responses are just gibberish. Eventually, Johnny starts lashing out and the interviewer gives him some kind of sedative. From here, it literally becomes an Aphex Twin music video with trippy visuals of Johnny and his chihuahua. At this point, we actually see the full figure of Johnny, who has an enlarged head that hangs like a sack off the back of his wheelchair. It actually reminds me a lot of The Hills Have Eyes, but either way, it is the definition of off-putting, and that opening, especially when Johnny acts as if he's seeing some unknown entity, just really gets me. Obey the Walrus. Obey the Walrus is just a classic disturbing video that you've likely seen or heard if you're venturing onto this side of YouTube. The video shows a severely disfigured person dancing and at certain points staring blankly at the camera with stilted movement. I first saw this video late at night and what can I say, it creeped me the hell out. Before I say anything else, let me just address the walrus in the room, which is that the person in this video is Sandy Crisp, a dancer, actor, and model who contracted polio as a baby, and due to the malpractice of doctors was then further disfigured. I felt the need to mention that because on this video and anything associated with it, there are just dozens of people all parroting the same comment that it's not disturbing, it's actually sad because this is a real person with an unfortunate disfigurement who's made into a monster by the video. I do understand that and I do feel bad for Sadie. However, without that context, it's just a jarring video due to the editing and music on top of seeing someone who's severely disfigured, which you're not expecting. Part of the horror to me originally was actually the title. Something about the language of it, the obey part, makes you think this person is held captive and made to dance for some reason, which just makes it even more eerie. Nebraska couple. I covered this one in my Sad PSAs video, but there's a PSA and news report on this couple who does meth at a party and just completely loses touch with reality while trying to drive home one night. They end up ditching their truck in a snowstorm because they think a cult is swarming in on them.
A lot of Mexicans and African Americans, and they're all dressed up in like these cult outfits, and they're moving all the vehicles.
They end up in a shack freezing to death, although they think they're in their apartment where people are attempting to break through the roof. Because of this, they call the police repeatedly but can't give them an idea of where they're actually at. They end up freezing to death, and the last call that the guy makes to 911, you can just hear the desperation in his voice as he realizes his phone is going to die, and it's his last chance.
I'm freezing, and my girlfriend's is freezing. Mike, I want to help you so bad, hon. I want to find out where you're at. My phone's just about to die. You're my last chance here.
It's truly haunting and just leaves you with a bad feeling. The fact they died out in the cold is horror enough, but the drugs just completely altering their state of mind is what really gets me. And this is where we get into a section of video that I'm guessing people won't relate to as much. Drugged out. I find videos of people who are heavily drugged out kind of scary. I think it's because of the irrationality and strange movements. There's just something about someone not being in touch with reality, especially in a violent way, that is terrifying to me. A lot of these videos are actually just funny because when people act abnormal, the line between comedy and fear is actually pretty thin.
Girl, they wouldn't let me up in Aldi's. They say I scare the customers. I be paying just like anybody else my EV treat.
I think another big part of it is that sometimes people on drugs act in a way that someone in a dream or nightmare would act, and maybe there's some connection there, I don't know. 2H32. 2H32 is a channel that I covered recently on the Horror on YouTube Iceberg. If you want to know more about the channel as a whole, go check out that video, but it's essentially a horror channel where every video is 2 minutes and 32 seconds long. These videos consist of horrific people and set pieces in such a way that it's actually gorgeous. A lot of it is like an artistic expression of horror. There are a few videos that creep me out from the channel, but one in particular actually shocked me when I saw it, and it's because the video consists of small black creatures with red eyes peering into a room as they're hanging from the wall. Obviously these creatures are creepy, but even more so to me because I'm a person who's actively experienced night terrors and sleepwalking throughout my life. As a kid, this was particularly bad, and my nightmares would merge with reality. A common occurrence was seeing black monkey-like creatures hanging on the walls and furniture who would just watch me with red glowing eyes. This eventually stopped as I got older, but imagine when I saw this video for the first time. I could honestly do a whole video on my experiences while in this state of mind, like when I thought giant lobsters were falling out of the ceiling, or when I repeatedly beat myself on the chest because I thought a tarantula was crawling on me. A lot of weird stuff like that. User 9472. This is a relatively new channel discovery for me, and to this day it's actually still fairly obscure. Besides being vague and cryptic, the channel is sort of unique in that most of its popular posts are actually not videos, but instead just eerie or off-putting images accompanied by even more eerie audio. Whoever runs the channel just has a good sense of what is creepy because the images shown aren't obviously terrifying, but are instead just off in some way or another. The times where there actually is motion in the uploads, it's usually very blurry with a low frame rate, or it's all distorted and chopped up. It's just one of those channels I stumbled upon late at night, and it just started giving me the willies. Attic people. This might be the most relatable one on the list. If I really want to deprive myself of sleep and wig out, I just gotta watch one of those videos of people secretly living in someone's house. Probably the most iconic of these types of videos is one where a man thought he had some food missing, so he set up a camera in his kitchen and watched it the next day to find that a woman was living in his attic, coming down in the middle of the night for food. Oh my god. Rewatching this video now, years later, I think it's fake for various reasons, but even if this particular instance is fake, it still illustrates the concept really well. It's so scary because it's not a witch or a ghost or some underwater leviathan. It's something that's very real and actually happens to people. You can't help but think, what if someone's in my attic right now? It's the type of video where I gotta throw on a comfort show like That 70s Show or Naruto or some shit just to feel okay again. So there you go, that's a little insight into what gives me the gosh darn willies. Let me know if you felt the same way about any of the videos, or if you have any of your own scary recommendations. Shout out to Naomi Romero for becoming a patron, and if you'd like to get a shout out like that after every video, plus all kinds of extra bonus content, or even if you just want to throw me a bone, check out my Patreon link below. But I do appreciate you guys watching my videos at all, so thank you. And as always, thanks to Kill Me Katie for the intro and outro music. This is Grief speaking. Goodbye, friends.